The night I let another man touch me wasn't the night my marriage ended. It was the night my husband quietly decided to erase me from his life. Legally, emotionally, and permanently. My name is Emily Carter. And this is the story of how my betrayal turned my husband into a man I no longer recognized. I married Daniel Carter when I was 28. He was calm, methodical, American in the way that believed effort mattered more than luck. A financial compliance director for a mid-sized logistics firm in Illinois. Daniel lived by systems, contracts, and rules. I lived by emotions. At first we balanced each other. I worked in marketing, remote since the pandemic, surrounded by screens and deadlines but starved for attention. Daniel worked long hours. Not because he loved work, but because he loved stability. We weren't broken. We were quiet. The house was clean. Bills paid. Conversations polite. Too polite. I started noticing the silence before dinner. The way he'd pause before kissing my cheek. How his phone always stayed face down, not because he was hiding anything, but because he had nothing to hide. That emptiness terrified me. That's when Mark appeared. He was a vendor consultant. Confident, attentive, always available. He listened. He asked questions. He made me feel visible. I told myself it was harmless. I told myself Daniel would never notice. I was wrong. The betrayal didn't explode. It leaked. Mark and I crossed the line during a conference trip in Denver. No explicit scenes. No romance. Just a choice, and then another. What I didn't know was that Daniel had already noticed patterns. Late-night Slack messages. Calendar entries that didn't align. Expense reimbursements that didn't match travel dates. Daniel didn't accuse. He observed. The night he found out, he didn't scream. He didn't confront me. He sat in his car outside our house for 37 minutes. I know because he later showed me the dashcam timestamp, not to hurt me, but to show me when his trust died. He discovered the affair through metadata, not emotion. Shared locations. Timestamps. Expense audits. When he finally walked inside, I knew. Not because he looked angry, but because he looked empty. He kissed my forehead. A goodbye disguised as affection. I confessed 2 days later, desperate to control the damage. He listened without interrupting. Then he said something I will never forget. "Thank you for telling me. Now I know exactly how careful I need to be." Daniel didn't leave immediately. That was the most terrifying part. He moved into the guest room. He started journaling. He hired a forensic accountant. I assumed it was about divorce. It wasn't. Daniel realized something before I did. My affair wasn't just emotional. It overlapped with financial negligence. Mark had access to vendor billing systems. I had shared documents. Nothing illegal on purpose, but enough procedural violations to matter. Daniel froze emotionally, but mentally he activated. He told me calmly, "I'm not angry, Emily. I'm disappointed in how careless you've been with our life." That was when I knew. This wasn't going to end with tears. After that conversation, something shifted inside the house. Not noise. Not arguments. Silence with weight. Daniel stopped reacting to me entirely. Not cold. Not cruel. Just absent in a way that felt deliberate. He still made coffee every morning, 2 cups, out of habit, then poured one down the sink without comment. He still locked the doors at night. Still paid the bills on time. But he stopped seeing me. I tried to apologize again. Tried to cry harder. Tried to explain how lonely I had felt, how unseen, how desperate. He listened once. Then he said quietly, "I don't need explanations. I need clarity." That word, clarity, haunted me. At night, I'd hear him typing. Not emails. Not work calls. Measured keystrokes. Long pauses. I asked him what he was writing. He didn't look up. A timeline. My stomach dropped. I realized then that Daniel wasn't processing pain the way I was. He wasn't drowning in it. He was organizing it. One afternoon, I found a manila folder on the kitchen table. No labels. No names. Just dates written in black ink. Dates that matched my lies. I touched it, instinctively, and pulled my hand back as if it burned. That night, I asked him if he hated me. He thought for a long time before answering. Hate requires emotion, he said. I'm past that. That was worse. Because anger burns fast. But distance erases. He began sleeping better. Working out again. Eating clean. I started unraveling. Every conversation we had felt like an exit interview. Come. Polite. Final. One evening, I broke down and asked him what he was planning. He finally looked at me. Fully, for the first time in weeks. His voice was calm. Controlled. Almost gentle. I'm planning a future where the truth is the only thing that speaks. That's when fear replaced guilt. Because I understood something too late. Daniel wasn't trying to hurt me. He was trying to leave without bleeding. And in doing so, he was making sure I carried the weight of every choice I had made, alone. I slept on the couch that night, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sound of a man quietly rebuilding himself, brick by brick, without me. Daniel hired an attorney. Then another. Quietly. He documented everything. Messages, a travel overlap, policy breaches, financial inconsistencies. He never touched my phone without consent. Never hacked. Never crossed a line. Instead, he waited. When the company initiated a routine audit, Daniel submitted supplemental compliance notes. Factual, unemotional, devastating. Mark was terminated within 10 days. Then came the civil separation. Daniel filed with evidence so clean, the judge barely asked questions. I lost. A equity stake, a reputation, a future promotions. Not because Daniel attacked me, but because he stepped aside and let the truth speak. The final conversation happened in mediation. I asked him if he ever loved me. Daniel looked at me. Not with hatred, but with distance. I loved the woman who protected our life. You stopped being her long before I stopped loving you. He walked away with, his dignity, his assets, his silence. I walked away with consequences. I tell this story not for forgiveness, but as a warning. Because the most dangerous man isn't the one who shouts. It's the one who documents, and leaves you alone with the truth. And that was the last day I ever had power over him.
If this story made you feel something, pain, anger, clarity, or strength, you're not alone. Stories like this are why Betrayal Nation exists. Please like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and write a comment below. We read every single one, and your voice matters here. Your support truly helps this channel grow, so if you haven't already, subscribe and help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Together, we're building a place where real stories are heard, truth is exposed, and justice finds its voice. This is Betrayal Nation. Thank you for being part of it.